Sports Scene, Hampton Road's premier interview show with Greg Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic and listen weekly as Greg interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM.
Mark your calendar for May 31st to June 3rd as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature cultural and food event on the peninsula. Located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Opa! From Chesapeake, Virginia, the Lighthouse 100.1 presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
Sports Scene, midweek online and Saturday on the radio at 10 a.m. on 100.1 FM, 1010 a.m., tunein.com. Type in WPMH, Greg Bicouvaris along with Joe Daniel. Glad you're with us for the ride. Sports Scene is an interview show, and also watch sports highlights on nnpstv.com. Tell your friends about gjbtv.com and click the YouTube link on the homepage for archived audio and video. Twitter @GregBic, and you can see the rest of my Twitter handles on gjbtv.com in the contact section. Thank you to our military. Guest lineup presented by Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Sponsors on gjbtv.com, marketplace sponsors in Hampton Roads, onlinemall.com. Phone line presented by newportnewsgreekfestival.org. And the show is presented by hrsmhof.com with the big ceremony May 12th. Major League Baseball going on, coming up soon this summer on Fox, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, a lot going on. Great interviews, business segments, highlights, commentary, what teased me off. Thank you for making the habit to listen to Sports Scene weekly, and we love our regulars, newcomers, and tourists. Our featured guest today is Matthew Schulze from the Kings Mill Championship, a great LPGA event in Williamsburg. Stay tuned.
Virginia Beach, make it the summer to remember. Get ready for the Summer Lights Tour with Jeremy Camp.
You call me out from the grave. I know the answer to every question.
Matthew West.
I'm going all in. Now I'm just a beggar in the presence of a king.
And Ren Collective.
He's our rescuer. He's our rescuer.
With special guest Corinne Hawthorne. Escape the ordinary with the Summer Lights Tour with Jeremy Camp, Matthew West, Ren Collective, and Corinne Hawthorne. July 19th, 7 p.m. at Rock Church in Virginia Beach. Tickets are on sale now online at summerlightstour.com. That's summerlightstour.com. The Summer Lights Tour. It's the night everyone will be talking about.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene, heard every Saturday morning on 1010 a.m., 100.1 FM, tunein.com. Type in WPMH. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. A pleasure to talk to Matthew Schulze, the tournament director from the Kings Mill Championship. Matthew, welcome.
Greg, thanks for having me on.
Hard to believe we're back here again. It's almost May, and all the golfers are getting ready.
Yeah, you know, we've had a lot of talk about the fact that it's just a few weeks away from them all kind of ending up here in Williamsburg, and it's exciting. There's a lot of great things going on for this year's event.
Well, let's talk about what goes on during the week. It's not just, people don't know, it's not just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it's the entire week.
Yeah, really, it kicks off on Monday with the qualifier to try to get 2 more players into the field, and then kind of it's kind of the social scene of the pairings party Tuesday night, the Pro-Am on Wednesday, and the Pro-Am this year is actually sold out for the first time in 10 years. So it was kind of interesting when we had the extension with the LPGA Tour to have the tournament for 3 more years. They kind of gave us 54 teams, and we had to go back to them twice to ask if we could we went to 56 and then went back and said, hey, we got so much interest, can we go to 58? So we haven't had more than 44 in my 4 previous years. So to jump to 58 this year has been just outstanding. There's just a lot of great buzz around the tournament for this year.
It seems like things are coming together with the extension as well as the title sponsor, too.
Correct. There's just so much good conversation. Obviously, we added Geico about 6 weeks ago now as our presenting sponsor, and Geico's just brought so much credibility to the tournament. JTBC was a great partner for the last few years, but having an American company and not a Korean company behind the tournament and putting their name on the tournament has been an unbelievable lift for the event. It's just given a whole different credibility to it. Obviously, Geico is a very recognizable brand, and to have them added to our event, we're just really looking forward to having them on site and seeing what we can do with that opportunity.
There's a lot going on, too, for the fans at that Kings Mill, not just for the residents, but for the public as well, because if you go to the tournament, the public's actually allowed to also go to the facilities, to the restaurants, so everybody's got to be hands on deck. It's all inclusive.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's one of the main reasons why the tournament's still so embraced here by our new ownership, and has been over the past 35 to 40 years of having professional golf at Kings Mill. It's our opportunity to show off everything that Kings Mill is as a resort, from a golf perspective, a hotel perspective, banquets. Kind of you name it, you can get a touch of it. The people that don't know about James Landing Grill being one of the only restaurants on the James River, just a spectacular view in the evening for some great seafood. All of those things, if you're at the tournament, you have access to all that stuff, and it is our showcase week for so many different things.
Absolutely, too. Talk about behind the scenes before we talk about some of the golfers. What is it like for you that Saturday or Sunday prior to the event, and how is your week day to day? We kind of pride ourselves in being over-prepared because stuff is going to pop up. It always does. Whether it's a player that needs something or a partner that needs something, we kind of, if I'm sitting around on a golf cart anytime between the Saturday, Sunday before the tournament to when we hand out a trophy, it's a pretty good feeling. It doesn't happen a lot just because there's always things that we're trying to make sure are flawless, for a lack of a better term. Perfection is the goal. So, we're always running around. We've got 1,400 volunteers, and that leadership needs things. We now have almost 100 partners or sponsors that are part of the tournament. So there's always stuff going on, and that's it's a massive juggling act to make the patrons that come to the tournament feel like, the water is crystal clear with no ripples because it is all very calm and buttoned up, if you will. But underneath, there's always stuff going on that we're trying to make sure doesn't become something that anybody on site sees, because it's the illusion, if you will, of running a major sporting event that there's things going on, but we want the public to feel like everything's perfect. Yeah, it's a week-long event, too, and there's been talk that the River Course is so highly regarded that the U.S. Open or one of the majors might have been considered going there in the future.
Yeah, that was obviously a very nice feather in our cap last year during the broadcast when Judy Rankin mentioned that she thought it was in the type of shape to host the U.S. Open. And in the time of year when the U.S. Open's 2 weeks after us. So I don't know that will ever happen, but it's certainly something that we talked about as a facility, is trying to figure out, would the players want sort of a pre-U.S. Open setup? when they come to play at Kings Mill. And I don't know that we're going to get there just because I don't know that they need it, being the difference of they're going to Alabama 2 weeks after us this year. But it's obviously nice to hear that the golf courses are that caliber and that quality during tournament week. That we just, I think it's neat to have a venue like that in the area that people can come out and play if they're staying at the resort and kind of play a golf course from where the best women professionals in the world play.
So much interaction, too, as we're talking to Matthew Schulze. Kingsmill, the staff, they're tweeting out things. Your staff is tweeting on the Twitter site as well. So it's constant interaction and constant updates, and that's the one good thing about social media. If something goes on a Tuesday to get ready for a Wednesday or Thursday, you guys can tweet it out.
Correct. And I think that social media has changed everything. Obviously, media in general has changed a lot. As you know, everything is now instantaneous. So if we have a player who makes an eagle, a player who does something special, we can put it out. And the best part is when we put it out, then they will retweet it or repost it or whatever type of social media channel they're using. And the reach is it's unbelievable. Obviously, that's some of the things we do on purpose and work with players to say, hey, we're going to throw something out. And once it's out, can you make sure that you see it and forward it? Because those players have so many more followers than we do. And they're great at creating the ripple effect when it comes to media and getting it out to everybody from a golf perspective.
Talking to Matthew Schulze, Greg Bicouvaris at Greg Bic on Twitter. Go ahead and plug all the social media, the website, and everything else.
So we are at the KingsmillChampionship.com. We are at KM Championship on Instagram. We are, hang on, I'm sorry.
You're also on Twitter, too.
Twitter is KM Championship. So we're out there on all of them. Please like those and follow us and see what's kind of happening up to the minute.
Before we talk about the players' field, for some people that have never had a chance to go to a major golf tournament, men or women, this is their time. This is one of the biggest events in the state of Virginia, and it's 7 full days.
Correct. We still pride ourselves. I know we have a PGA seniors event up in Richmond, but we still pride ourselves as being the biggest professional golf event in the state. And it is. It's amazing from the perspective of somebody who comes on site for the first time, golfer or not golfer, to be able to watch these players play golf. They are the best of the best. We always have an unbelievable field, and you can get up close and personal and watch them play golf. The interaction with them in our autograph alley presented by Ferguson it's second to none. I mean, some of the players, and I could name names, that they spend 30 or 45 minutes signing autographs in that little area right there because they get how important it is to interact with their fans. And it's really inspiring the way they treat the people that are here, whether it's staying in housing with residents of Kings Mill. Just every interaction they have with people is really, really genuine. They really care about the people that want to watch them perform in their sport.
Right. We usually chat with Wayne once a year, and I grew up going to the tournament as a kid and worked it several years on television, too. And we'll talk more about that with Matthew Schulze, about the TV coverage, about the field, and much more. Stay tuned for Sports Scene. We'll be back after these messages.
Mark your calendar for May 31st to June 3rd as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature cultural and food event on the peninsula. Located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Opa!
Hello, this is Jerry Qualls. For 35 years, I hosted a daily radio program called Heart to Heart, where I, as a marriage and family counselor, spoke to listeners on a variety of topics including marriage, pre-marriage, depression, anger, fear, and many other issues. I'm still counseling and can now offer counseling services by FaceTime, Skype, Google, and over the phone. For more information or to schedule an appointment, the phone number is 757-679-6360.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios.
Want to thank our good friends at Sakura Japanese Restaurant, Sushi Bar, Takeout, Dine-In. They deliver through OrderUp.com at the Walmart Way Crossing in Chesapeake, 1437 Sam's Drive. Give them a call at 410-4577. Go by and see Jasmine and the wonderful staff. Well, television coverage once again on the Golf Channel. Talk about it.
This year it's kind of interesting. We've got the last couple of years we've been on call it primetime tape delay on Thursday and Friday. And this year we're actually going to be on live all 4 rounds. And on Thursday and Friday we're going to be on from 10:30 to 12:30 in the morning. So right around the lunch hour. I think it'll be really interesting. It'll kind of give the fans a different perspective of Kings Mill, being able to show kind of a Thursday, Friday morning round atmosphere, and then again being live from 5 to 7 on Saturday and Sunday to wrap it all up and present a trophy to a new champion.
To me, there's nothing like a Kings Mill Saturday. We can walk around, of course, all 4 days, but just to be there on a weekend, enjoy the nice weather, the water, the great, the food, the fellowship. It really is like a reunion almost.
Well, again, I think that's kind of what we look at every year is how do we make the event bigger and better, and what can we add to attract different people who maybe aren't golfers or haven't been to the Kings Mill Championship. I do spend a lot of time talking to groups, and very rarely am I in a room in Williamsburg where I ask, has anybody not been to the Kings Mill Championship or an PGA Tour event at Kings Mill? And you don't see a lot of hands. Everybody kind of locally knows that the tournament's going on. So our push is always to try to make sure that the beach and Richmond and even Fredericksburg and D.C., Charlottesville, that those places know that it's a great place to come. Bring your family. The family fun zone's happening, from 10 to 3 every day, where we've got inflatables and face painting. We've got stuff for the kids to do, which gives families a great opportunity to expose their kids to a professional sporting event, watch the best players in the world play golf, but take a break and go over and have some fun, blow off some steam. Last year we added a beer garden and beer trail. This year, as part of that, on Friday night and Saturday night, we're going to have live music as part of that, which is something different. So it's always trying to figure out, like you said, how do we continue to keep people engaged when they're here, that as soon as the last putt falls, everybody doesn't leave. There's more happening every day. Like you said, the food and beverage is phenomenal. Again, it goes back to the showcase of the resort. How can we show everything that we have to offer? So from a food perspective, a family atmosphere, whatever it is, we're always trying to figure out how to make sure we're offering everything we can.
And that's one thing, too, about the locals, the tourists, the media. We all feel like it's our event. That's the thing. It's like, and we're all invested in making this a better event. You know how much I care about this event. The community does. And it's not something you just think about a week before or a day before. This is something we think about year round.
Correct, and it's actually one thing that we've just started to work on last year, obviously, when we were purchased by Escalante Golf as our new ownership group, and they said, you know what, it is a community event. We need to start trying to commit back to the community, and we've added a couple of events, one of them this year being our Healthy Start Breakfast. The YMCA is actually going to help us kind of promote that, and we've kind of added a community partner aspect that we have different organizations that help us promote the tournament, and then we also help them. We've got a lot of groups, civic organizations who marshal certain holes or have different connections with the tournament, and trying to make sure that we can also do something for those groups who do so much for us. And I think that's what creates the community feel. Like you said, it feels like it's your event. It's been here for so long, and it's been done so well for so long that I think people really take a lot of pride in it. When we talk to other tour events, the fact that we have 1,300 to 1,400 volunteers blows people away, that we can get that many. Most tournaments have half that unless you're talking PGA Tour, U.S. Open big type events. but we have that support from the community, and it's really inspiring that there's that many people that want to help us put on the best show we can.
How about the amenities for the golfers itself? You guys have always had nice events for them, but are they having more demands of their time? Do they have time to do the other stuff, or is it pretty much got to be done Monday night and Tuesday night for the most part?
It's a little bit of, that's the juggling that we do. And like we talked about a minute ago, I think you have some of the players that just get it. Like last year, we had a player do a luncheon on Thursday. She played at like 7:30 in the morning,
Wow.
Played pretty good, got cleaned up, and went and spoke to her group for lunch at 1 o'clock. Those are harder for us to explain to the partner or the person hosting the lunch. Hey, this is going to be a on-the-fly type deal, but we'll get you get somebody there. So there's always stuff going on. We do spend a lot of time pulling players after they sign their cards. If Brittany Lincecum goes out and shoots 65, she's in a pretty good mood. We take her up into the skyboxes just to kind of meet and greet some people. So that stuff does happen, but you're right. The majority of it happens earlier in the week. Wednesday with the Pro-Am being sold out and us playing 9 and 9, where there's two professionals. One plays the front nine with you, one plays the back nine with you. On a 144-player field, we're using almost every player for the Pro-Am. So that becomes a day that's really hard to do other things. But we do have partners that, Dove does a big luncheon for the military on Wednesday. And that's just where the puzzle, like you were talking about earlier, you got to make all the pieces fit. So if we've got a high-level player that needs to be at that luncheon at 12:30, she needs to play early on the Pro-Am. And that's the nicety of having them only play 9 holes. So they could play at 8, they're done by 10, they can take an hour or two before they need to go to their next venue. But they're so good about doing those things that it just makes it a lot of fun. It honestly does.
Very good. Excellent. Well, let's talk about the field a little bit as much as you can. Lexi Thompson won it last year. We've had Christy Kerr has won it 3 times. Let's talk about the 2018 field.
The field actually continues to get better and better. We've always been so fortunate, and this year, being 2 weeks before the U.S. Open, we weren't really sure how it was going to flush out. But like you said, Lexi's coming back, Christy's coming back. The field list that is up on the website currently is just updated, and we've added Lizette Salas as a defending champion, or not defending, but a former champion coming back. Also picked up Stacey Lewis yesterday, who hadn't been on the field list, hadn't played here in a couple of years. But all the other names as well. Brooke Henderson, who obviously won already this year. Julie Inkster is always a great one to have back, so much of a legend. The Corda sisters will be back. The Jutanagarn sisters will be back, with Moira winning last week. Pernilla Lindbergh, who won A&A. Morgan Pressel, fan favorite. Kari Webb, Michelle Wee. Really, most of the names you could ever think of. The couple that we don't have, and for obviously good reason, we do not have Suzanne Pedersen because she's currently pregnant, and Jarena Pillar, who is also expecting their first child any day, and Lydia Coe, who actually we found out her sister's getting married on Saturday of tournament week. So she won't be here, but really, for the most part, everyone else that we would expect to have on property that week to have the best field we can, they're all going to be here.
What is the state of golf right now in Kings Mill, and what is the state of golf with the LPGA and PGA as far as you're concerned?
I think it's trending so far up right now. There's a lot of pieces that are kind of falling in place. We're seeing it in all of the aspects of the tournament. We're having an unbelievable year. Ticket sales are ahead of where they are. Volunteer numbers are up. Our partners are up. And I think in talking to other events around the country, they're all seeing the same thing, especially the LPGA. This week and last week, they've added 2 new events that they pulled together in 6 months and have done a really good job. And for the LPGA to get back in L.A. and San Francisco is really great to have kind of a West Coast swing. Mike Wan continues to kind of work wonders. There was a little push a couple of years ago, but about trying to get more domestic events here, and he continues to just find ways to get all that stuff to happen. golf is pretty high right now. I know we're seeing it at the resort. There's a lot of traffic here. It's always busy in April because of the lead up to the tournament and the golf course being in pretty good condition. But I think overall golf is pretty healthy. It really is. I know you're always going to have people that say that, well, you know, it's not where it was, and it's going to take a while to get back to where it was. But I think we're definitely climbing back that direction.
For the tourists out there listening and also the locals, they always play on the river course. The men did as well. Has there ever been talk to play on another course, or is that the preferred course no matter what year?
Yeah, I think it would always be the river course. It's kind of the premier venue here. You know, I think the woods course logistically just becomes a little bit more difficult because it doesn't have the infrastructure to host something of this nature. And that's kind of the beauty of, or the luxury we have as a resort, is we've got a lot of conference space. We've got the rooms. We've got, you know, a dedicated clubhouse and some other internal things that make it a little bit easier to pull off an event this size with less build, if you will, where we're not bringing in tents just to try to find places to put people. And I think the river course, the history of it, would make it hard to use one of the other two golf courses for a professional event.
Absolutely. Talking to Matthew Schulze, the tournament director. Matthew, tell us about on a typical day just during tournament week. What time do you start your morning there on property, and what time do you leave, or do you ever leave?
That's a great question. Most days we leave, we just don't go very far. We really, you know, we beat the sun here and we stay after it goes down. So, you know, we typically get over here and start checking things sometime around 5 a.m. and we're in the office till after 10 most nights. And it's just a constant update of communication to all the people that have an interest in the event, whether it's the staff here at Kingsmill, our partners, the vendors, the volunteers. There's just a lot of people that have a vested interest or have needs to know what's kind of happening each day. And then we have a lot of people that, you know, have special access during the week that we're trying to negotiate. You know, a lot of people are fortunate enough to be able to walk inside the ropes with a group. That could be kind of an interesting scenario when you have somebody who's going to walk with a group on Saturday and the tee times don't come out till Friday night. So it's a lot of that stuff. But like I said earlier, the more buttoned up we are going into the week, the less we have to run around and try to chase our tails. But the majority of the time, that's not the case. But there will always be stuff that pop up, and, you know, we handle it. And that's what makes it fun. It's definitely a fast-paced, we call it the 17 days of fun, which is the week before and a couple days to clean up after. And it really is. It's a blast of adrenaline to make sure that we pull off what everybody expects the Kingsmill Championship to be.
Absolutely. You made up a good point before we let you go about some people like to follow a group or stay at a certain hole maybe. What are you finding out the most? Are there people that like to do both? Just stay at, let's say, the 8th hole, the 9th hole, the 18th hole? Or the ones that like to start from 1 and go to 18 and just keep going in circles?
You know, and you know this, Greg.
Sure.
The Golf Channel does a great job of making sure that they're going to put out some marquee groups where they'll put 3 pretty popular players, and normally 2 or 3 groups in the morning and 2 or 3 groups in the afternoon. Those groups traditionally have fans who follow them for all 9 holes or all 18 holes. But then you have, obviously you got bleachers on 9 and 1, 17 and 18. But there are a lot of people that go out to 5 because it's a par 3 and it's a fun hole to watch players play, and it kind of has the natural amphitheater, so you get a good view of golf from there. And the river course, quite honestly, because of the rolling terrain, really gives a lot of good places for you to just stand and watch golf. 15 is obviously a great one. And then, you know, the finish, 15, 16, 17, and 18. That's pretty much the loop that I think anybody who ends up on property probably makes that walk, just to see get out by the river, kind of see how awesome that view is, and watch the players kind of try to close out what we consider one of the hardest stretches to finish on the LPGA Tour.
Matthew, all the best, my friend. Should be a wonderful, wonderful event, May 14th and May 20th, a signature moment in Hampton Roads. All the best to you and your wonderful staff for what you guys do 24/7.
Thanks, Greg. As always say I appreciate you letting us come on and talk about the event, and we look forward to having you out here that week.
Very good, my friend. You stay dry, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, one of the best right there, folks. Matthew Schulze, the tournament director of the Kings Mill Championship, going on May 14th to May 20th. Truly a unique and wonderful event in Hampton Roads and throughout the golf community. CP Shuckers, locals tradition on Shore Drive, Pacific Avenue. People love their delicious food, great appetizers, steak bites, sandwiches, burgers, all the great specials. NBA, NHL playoffs, golf, all the good games on TV, Major League Baseball. Go by and see Matt and Mark and their wonderful staff at CP Shuckers today.
Chris Tomlin presents Worship Night in America, and tickets start at only $15. Chris Tomlin, Kim Walker-Smith of Jesus Culture, Matt Maher, Christine DeClario, Torrin Wells, and Pat Barrett. Experience a powerful night of music as we come together and unite as one in prayer. Worship Night in America is coming to the Constant Center in Norfolk Sunday night, May 6th, and tickets start at only $15. Find tickets and all the info you need at christomlin.com. Worship Night in America, featuring Chris Tomlin, Kim Walker-Smith of Jesus Culture, Matt Maher, Christine DeClario, Torrin Wells, and Pat Barrett. Sunday, May 6th at the Constant Center. Another awakening event from the Awakening Foundation.
Now this is the confidence that we have in Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. Christians from all over Hampton Roads will gather on the South Side Thursday, May 3rd for the National Day of Prayer. Hampton, Newport News, Yorktown, Poquoson, Portsmouth, Norfolk, Gloucester, Virginia Beach, Williamsburg, Suffolk, and Chesapeake join the National Day of Prayer of Tidewater, Virginia at Rock Church in Virginia Beach Thursday, May 3rd from 7:30 to 9 p.m. This is an opportunity for Christians from all denominations to unite in one accord to pray for this nation. And if you need prayer, healing, or salvation, come and be blessed by God. Join the National Day of Prayer of Tidewater, Virginia, Thursday, May 3rd, 7:30 to 9 p.m. at Rock Church, 640 Kempsville Road, Virginia Beach, for the National Day of Prayer. For more information, call 508-3827.
Hey, Jessica, I haven't seen you in a while. Wow, you look fabulous.
Thanks.
Okay, I gotta know, what is your secret?
Well, you're not gonna believe this. It's not one of those $100 creams or lotions either.
Do tell.
I'll let you in on a little secret. It's the Ultimate HA formula from Purity Products.
Really?
It combines hyaluronic acid and collagen in a capsule.
In a capsule?
Yeah, it hydrates my skin, and women love that. And get this, it also cushions my joints.
Wow.
So, Ultimate HA is great for beautiful skin and healthy, flexible joints.
Huh.
You know, guys love it too, especially when they hit 50. Give it a try.
I bet it cost a fortune.
No, it doesn't. You can get a free bottle of Ultimate HA today.
Wait, did you say free?
Give them a call. That's what I did.
For your free bottle of Ultimate HA capsules, just pay for shipping and call now. 1-800-360-8715. 1-800-360-8715. Call now. 1-800-360-8715.
You are listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
All right, highlights right here. Go to gjbtv.com. Click the YouTube link for archive shows as well. And, of course, Sports Scene is online on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Saturday mornings on the radio as well on 100.1 FM, The Lighthouse, 1010 AM. TuneIn.com. Type in WPMH where you can be a favorite as well. Question presented by Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News to our esteemed producer, Joe Daniel. How do you deal with distractions both personally and in business?
That's tough. Professionally, it's difficult because as a producer, you're watching many different things. So it's easy to be distracted in a thought that just comes by when you're trying to look at the clock and look at levels and look at microphones and you're trying to keep track of everything. So getting distracted can be pretty difficult. And in personal, I know an issue that I went through was I wasn't really listening to the other person. I was in sales for a little while, and then when talking to the person, I wasn't really listening to their response as I'm talking to them and trying to sell them something, because I'm preparing what I'm going to say next in my head. And so I'm distracted by my own thoughts and not really listening to the individual that I'm talking to. So that's something that I have to learn and grow from, is getting distracted from getting attached to something that somebody says when they talk. I'll latch onto a thought, and then in my mind, I'm trailing off on something that they said, and this is like 3 minutes later when we're actually talking about something, and then I have to get pulled back into the conversation. So I try my best to deal with distractions.
All right, our question today, next week, is a little tease, will be about trust. So we'll talk to Joe Daniel about the word trust next week. All right, folks, I want to thank our good friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. Great lunch, dinner, appetizers, salads, boneless traditional wings, excellent burgers, wraps, and sandwiches, tenders, macs, beverages, desserts, a great kids menu, all the games on TV, the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, golf, baseball. Go by and see the great staff over there at 12150 Jefferson Avenue. Give them a call at 249-3999. Right next to Patrick Henry Mall is Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News. Paul and his staff will make you feel at home the minute you walk in. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Stay tuned.
Mark your calendar for May 31st to June 3rd as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature cultural and food event on the peninsula. Located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Opa! Are you searching for a genuine connection with God and others? Then join Virginia Beach United Methodist this week for worship, life groups, holy yoga, or one of the many other activities we offer every week in a warm and friendly environment. We are located at 212 19th Street in Virginia Beach with modern services at 9:30 a.m. and traditional services at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. For more information, please visit our website at vbumc.org or call 757-428-7727.
Ready to grow in God? Well, Pastor Charles Stanley has a new Life Principles Bible available, offering clear introductions to all 66 books, highlighting God's promises, life principles, lessons, and examples to help you grow in the knowledge and understanding of God through His Word. It's in the Shop with Praise bookstore now for just $20. So come on in and pick up your copy, or just call us at 488-1010. That's the Shop with Praise bookstore at 488-1010.
Hi, I'm Brad Keselowski, driver of the number 22 Discount Tire Ford Mustang. When I'm racing, my crew chief sets my tire air pressure. If it's not just right, I can lose speed and grip. When it comes to your tires, you need to be the crew chief. Check your air pressure once a month and before road trips.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
You are listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene. Don't forget, at Greg Bick on Twitter. That's GREGBIC as well. GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link. And our good friends at Panera, all items 100% clean. They deliver catering as well. Take advantage of the rapid pickup option. Soups, sandwiches, salads, bagels, bread, smoothies, all the great breakfast sandwiches, desserts, refreshing beverages. Go by and see Brian and the wonderful staff. PaneraBread.com. Food as it should be. Healthy food. Right there at 6255 College Drive in Suffolk, in Harborview. Give them a call at 483-3670. Tell your friends about Panera and go by the Harborview location. You'll be glad you did. We've had her on Sports Scene before. Let's welcome back Jennifer Brown, the President CEO of Community Nights. Good to see you.
Great to be back, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Tell us about your organization.
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Community Nights is a nonprofit. We've been here for 9 years. Our first program is our gift program, which is our grant initiative fundraising team. It's designed to invest back in our nonprofit and public school community here. And what we do is we run large-scale fundraisers. Our biggest one, our bingo game. And we take all of our proceeds and we put those into a grant pool. And then Public schools and nonprofits can then apply for our program, and they can receive grants on a quarterly basis. We're actually really excited. We're about to hit our 5-year goal. It's our 5 years of the program. And on this next grant pool, we'll cross the $1 million threshold and money reinvested back into our community. So we're very, very excited about that.
That takes a lot of effort and great team effort.
Most definitely. We've had over 400 community-based volunteers come out and volunteer to invest back in their community, and it's a wonderful family of people. And you know how there's always seems to be 3-5 folks in small organizations that always feel like they do everything? Well, all of those folks from different PTAs, choral boosters, and even within small nonprofits, they all seem to be drawn to us. And can you imagine volunteering side by side in a room full of individuals who are that energized and that excited about what they do? It's just an amazing energy. And bingo is not what people tend to think of it as. Our facility is non-smoking. And the family that comes out and plays bingo, too, they are absolutely engaged in the community. They know where the funds are going, and they love coming out and having a great time. What you spend on bingo is what you spend out for dinner and a movie, and they have an opportunity to potentially win money. And on top of that, they know that any of the proceeds that are raised are being invested right back into our schools and right back into our nonprofit community. So you spend a night out, you have a good time, you possibly win money, and then you leave knowing you did something good for the community.
Yeah, one thing bingo sustained over the decades. I remember as a kid, we had it at the Greek Church in Newport News. Really, bingo is just a lot of fun for everybody.
It really is. We have a great time. And for our individuals who come out and volunteer, we have a lot of students who come out and volunteer, and they're getting great skills because they're learning how to do customer service. They're also putting that phone away for 5 hours, which is something you rarely see a teenager do. And they're actually learning how to handle cash at the same time. So we've had lots of students come back and tell us, thank you so much for letting me volunteer. I got a lot of skills that helped me get that first job.
Very good. Talking to Jennifer Brown, President and CEO of Community Nights, and talk about the day-to-day activities for you and the staff there.
Really, we spend some time working on making sure that large-scale fundraiser keeps going because we have 2 sessions every single week. But on top of that, what we're doing is community outreach. So we're going out and we're working with all of the different nonprofits and public school organizations that we support. We're also working on that grant program because every single application that comes in is vetted, and then we're going out through that grant process and making sure all the funds are spent the way that they were intended to be spent. We're also developing other programs that we have found the need for and have been voiced back to us through our community of nonprofits and public schools. And the one that we're getting ready to gear up with is called our Coach Program. And that program is designed to help individuals with disabilities be able to actively engage in the volunteer community. And so what we'll be doing is having volunteers come in and volunteer to be skills trainers. Individuals with disabilities frequently need a job coach to help them in employment situations, where someone with a disability will have somebody work with them and help give them the extended training they might need in the workforce. And we're going to be doing the same thing for them in the volunteer space in the nonprofit sector.
And you have a lot of people involved in social media. You're very active on Facebook. Talk about what goes on behind the scenes there.
Well, that's it's a wonderful community. So we have a volunteer page where anybody who volunteers with us is in that group, and they share with one another all the different activities that are going on. Collaboration is a core goal for Community Nights. So what happens is all of the public school groups and nonprofits that participate in our gift program are always looking for ways to collaborate with one another and support one another. And they find a lot of connections there within our volunteer group and also within our Community Nights pages on social media. They also serve on work teams together with us within our organization as far as helping plan open houses and looking at different ways to engage in the community and working together with one another.
How do people get involved?
The easiest way to get involved with us is to touch base through our website, which is www.communitynights.org. There's ways to come on board to volunteer if you have a nonprofit organization or a public school group and you'd like to plug in with us. Again, there's a portal for that where you can apply for the gift program.
Really, there's something for everyone. As we're talking to Jennifer Brown, President and CEO of Community Nights. And, of course, you have a new physical location in Newport News as well.
Yes, we're very excited. We have actual office space now, and it's a wonderful place. We are in the workplace at Oyster Point, which is a collaborative office space, which is really, really nice. So we're very excited about that. And just to shout out about that, it's a wonderful place for anybody who's currently working out of their home. There's a couple nonprofits that are now positioned in there as well, because when we were first starting out, of course, working on a shoestring budget to make sure we were investing as much as we could into the public, we were running all of our things out of our houses. And now to be able to have that office space and be able to expand programming is extremely exciting.
You can see Jennifer's link for community nights on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. That's HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit. And there's always events coming. That's why there's never a dull moment.
Oh, never a dull moment. Like I said, every Sunday at 2 o'clock. Our doors open at noon, and every Wednesday, doors opening at 5, and our game starts at 7. We have our bingo fundraising events. We also have coming up Give Local 757, which is a wonderful day of giving throughout the community. And, of course, while we would appreciate any love you guys could give us on May 8th, we also want to encourage you to look at all of the other nonprofits that are out there fundraising, because it is a wonderful day of giving. And if you go and research the pages now, everybody has their profiles up. You can see all the amazing work that's being done in Hampton Roads by our nonprofit community. It's an amazing community, and we are honored to serve and support it.
It really does take a village of a lot of you guys getting together and sharing ideas.
Oh, so much. That's one of the things that we love at Community Nights is when we bring in representatives from all of the different nonprofits, and especially when we cross-pollinate, I guess would be the best way to put it, with our public school groups, and watch them find new ways to support one another, whether it's generating an extensive volunteer pool for our nonprofit community, or our nonprofit community finding ways to collaborate and partner with our public schools and serve our students better. But we really are one intertwined community, and we rely on one another. We rise and fall together, and that's one of the big themes that we support.
Community Nights really does sound like a knight in shining armor.
Oh, thank you.
How'd you get the name?
Actually, that's funny you said that. When we were putting it all together, we were inspired by the financial crisis in 2008, when we saw deep budget cuts hitting our schools, and our nonprofit communities were watching their corporate sponsorships really dry up. And our co-founder, Teresa, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, and myself, we had lots of people coming to us asking us to help them with fundraising, which is something we just happen to be particularly good at. And none of the organizations who were coming to us were big enough to run large-scale fundraisers on their own. But the other thing we noticed was none of them had the budgets that really needed the funds that could be driven by these large-scale fundraisers. And Teresa and I looked at one another and we're like, this is really a call to try to bring the community together to support the community. And we looked at other programs that really were needed to support our community in a more broad fashion. And so in 2009, we were incorporated, and we got the gift program up and running in 2013.
For more contact information.
Certainly. Again, look for us on the web at www.communitynights.org. You can also find us on Facebook, which is Community Nights, Inc. If you're interested in bingo, we also have a bingo page, which is Community Nights Bingo. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Instagram, and Twitter. Our Twitter handle is Community Nights 1.
Right, and HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
Oh, that's right.
You're everywhere. All the best, Jennifer. Thank you for what you and your staff do for the community.
Well, thank you for sharing.
My pleasure. All right, Jennifer Brown, stay tuned.
What Tees You Off? Presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
And before we get to What Tees Me Off, don't forget the Spring Newport News Greek Festival, the Norfolk Greek Festival, all coming up very soon. We look forward to chatting more with them as the weeks go on as well. Our good friends at Craft 17. Go by and see Jamie and the wonderful staff at 1706 Mediterranean Avenue in Virginia Beach. Great place for locals and tourists. Craft chili, fried house pickles, the great burgers, toppings, the Carolina snap dogs, chicken sandwiches, build your own burgers, salads, vegan burgers, house cut fries, beer battered onion rings, excellent vegetables, delicious craft beer as well, and of course a lot of fun at Craft Burger Bar in Virginia Beach, 1706 Mediterranean Avenue. Go by and see them, like them on Facebook as well. All right, what teased me off, always a favorite here, Joe Daniel. When you open up a box of crackers and the food initially is stale and there's no crunch to it.
Oh, wow. Stale crackers straight from the box. Brand new? I take it that they're brand new. That's the worst. Or chips. Same thing. Chips. Anything that's supposed to have a crunch needs to have a crunch.
Especially before the expiration date expires.
Yeah.
You go by those expiration dates.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. That's pretty bad.
Really is. How about this? When you go somewhere and all of a sudden you can relate to this, kids just laying flat out like an airplane on the floor in public places.
Oh my gosh. Timmy, get off the floor. Son, please get off the floor. And he's just on the floor, just doesn't care. He's just all out. That's a tough spot to be in, especially for the parent who's not wanting to come off as being too strict, because you know that somebody's going to be like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that to your child. Well, he's screaming in the middle of Food Lion. I need to do something.
Yeah, or like when you go to a restaurant or a library, they're just laid out on the carpet. How about this? When your kids were younger and when you got home, you'd always hear, well, one kid played well with others, the other one didn't. That can always be an issue too sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
For parenting.
Yeah, fitting in the dynamic of kids is fascinating.
Right. They communicate on their own. How about this? When 4 or 5 cars enter any location at the same time in single file, let's say one of those big box stores, and you're all behind each other.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you all file in, and then there's never enough parking, so it's just kind of like you're all searching around the parking lot trying to find parking, and then there's people walking around, and it's stressful.
When you're doing your morning routine, when you're using a spray or a gel, and it just comes to an abrupt end. You know what, shaving cream or shampoo or whatever.
You can't even fully lather your face.
Yes, it's just, and you have to get out of the shower to go get some more.
Getting out of the shower, that's something else. You forget either you just ran out of shampoo, like you said, or ran out of something. You need to grab a new razor or something. And getting out of the shower, it's cold, it's wet. You can't dry off because you're going to hop right back in 5 seconds later. But it's just the having to get out of the shower and you're dripping wet, so you're having to clean it up and not slip.
Right. This is what teased me off. I had a contractor go by my house to give me an estimate, only to see him on the highway a few moments later after he called several times. So it constantly reminds you, hey, I can get it down lower, I can get it down lower. You're like, I'll call you when I'm ready.
Yeah. Pushy salespeople.
How about this? The city sends you a photo of bulk leaves at your house, but it was not the correct house. Sometimes if you leave out bulk waste too early, they'll say, uh-oh, not good.
Yeah, and it wasn't even your home. Being accused of something, I know that some people get like speeding tickets or something like that in the mail, and it's just a picture of a license plate, but it was actually the wrong car. And so the hassle of having to correct something like that, having to call the appropriate people, the DMV, the police station, to see if you can get this resolved.
And trying to get a hold of them, and they're always off on Fridays too, so they make you think about it all weekend long until Monday. I know this is basic because we live in a technological age, but when you walk into a business in the morning and the doors are locked on the outside, that's a horrible feeling when the doors are locked.
Yeah. Well, I hate it when there's a double door and they only unlock one of them. I want to be able to have both doors working at the same time. You know, on the right side, since that's how we drive, that's how you enter the building, and the left door, that's how you leave the building. I want that to happen. I hate it when there's a double door, but they only, for whatever reason, they only have one of them unlocked. Drives me insane. That door needs to swing. It's not a wall. It's a door.
Yeah, not to mention certain grocery stores and buildings have certain entrances closed at night for safety reasons. I get that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how they're being vigilant with safety.
There's nothing worse than going to a restaurant and asking a person that works there about the menu, and they're like, I don't know, let me ask, let me check, I really don't know.
Yeah, it's bad when, I mean, there's excuses. I mean, if they're new, that's fine. Of course, there's a learning curve, but if you've been working there for like 3 months even, I think that's sufficient enough time to learn the menu, learn the dishes, try out a bunch of food. I don't like it when I ask along those same lines, how is this? How is that cooked? How is this prepared? What does it taste like? And they're like, I haven't had that. Or I haven't had that either. Haven't eaten that. Haven't tried that. I don't like that. I like you said, a knowledgeable staff.
You and I always joke about small talk. Neither one of us like it. But how about this, going anywhere and sitting next to strangers or being stuck to strangers, whether it's in an elevator or a building or office space, just being next to a stranger in a checkout line, it can be really awkward.
Yeah, or like a subway. We have in our Western society, we have a thing called personal space, but in a lot of countries they don't. I was over in Europe. I took a trip with my church, and personal space is different out there. I heard in Japan, where they have like a really proficient subway system, personal space is doesn't even exist. I mean, you're literally shoulder to shoulder with people all around you, and that's just the way it is. Once you think the subway train is full, they're stopping and they're picking up even more people. I mean, it's bad over there from what I've been told.
There is no personal space there, too. Right. It's all inclusive. And people always talk about country clubs are for the rich, and I get that. They close the doors to, let's say, people that can't afford it. But think about it. Everybody kind of lives in their own country club. When you think about their day-to-day life, you're not going around the public 24/7. It's around your family members, and pretty much that's it. You're going home, right. You're going to the grocery store, going to the restaurant, going to school. You went overseas. You chose to go with a group, but pretty much you're in your own bubble. Yeah. It's just the country club people can afford to keep those outside the bubble.
Right, yeah, they have the gates. They can afford the gates, the fence around. But that's fascinating and interesting perspective of we're all living in our own little club. We all have a club, and we're excluding people at the same time, and obviously it's not necessarily correct or right at times. You know, we want to be inclusive and we want to tolerate other people, but at the same time, that's just kind of how we're created, how our minds work. We want to stay in these little groups, these little clubs that's comfortable.
Right, it's all about comfort, and this is a great segue to our last part of what teased me off. When a bartender or even a guest or somebody in an airplane says, oh, sorry, these seats are taken, and they don't even work there. Let's say you're going to an airline that doesn't have assigned seats. Oh, I'm saving that seat. My bags are right there. And they have no control over that in reality.
Yeah. Saving one seat, that's fine. You know, one, maybe two, you know, but an entire aisle. Hey, all of these are all saved. I see my pamphlets and my jacket. I laid my jacket across 3 chairs. That means they're all saved. Yeah, I mean, that's why I appreciate when restaurants say, hey, we won't seat you unless half your party is here at least, or the majority of your party is here, or your entire party of 5, 6, 7 people. They all have to be here in order for you to be seated, because they don't want one person getting there and then just taking up an entire table of 8 that's supposed to seat 8 or 10 and only one person sitting there. So yeah, saving stuff, try to avoid it, I would say, or just leave it to like 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's talking out of bounds where you have no jurisdiction or control. You're just saying it because you want to take ownership.
Where do you get off?
Yes, exactly. Go back to your country club. All right, Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Mike and the staff have a great, spacious, nice dining area. Excellent bar for lunch and dinner daily. Burgers, steaks, soups, salads, great appetizers, seafood, pasta, chicken, all the great goodies right there at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville, 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. You've got Mother's Day coming up, Father's Day as well, right there in Kempsville. Give them a call at 523-4832. Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Want to thank our great guest today. For more, log on to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link, and we look forward to talking to everyone next Saturday at Greg Bick on Twitter. For Joe Daniel, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. We'll talk to you soon.
Mark your calendar for May 31st to June 3rd as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature cultural and food event on the peninsula. Located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Opa!
Sports Scene, Hampton Roads premier interview show with Greg Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBick and listen weekly as Greg interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1